These are the best leave-in conditioners I have ever tried. And they all double as heat protectants. Welcome to part 4 of the series where I share my absolute favorite hair care products in every single category so that you can find the best fit for you. Part 1 was clarifying shampoos, part 2 was shampoo and conditioner sets, part 3 was hair masks. So now we are ready for part 4, which is post-wash leave-in conditioning and heat protecting sprays. Just like with the first 3 videos in this series, I am including several different options for you to choose from on purpose, because I want to help you find the best fit for you and your hair depending on your personal preference for things like price, fragrance, benefits, formula, application, and overall results. So to try to help you with that as best as I possibly can, I am going to share these recommendations from the lightest to the thickest, which means that we are starting off with the Pantene Miracle Rescue 10-in-1 Multitasking Spray. Key benefits include repairing damage, moisturizing, providing 450 degrees of heat protection, detangling, strengthening, protecting color, providing UV protection, softening, smoothing frizz, and improving shine. Standout ingredients include amodimethicone, several quaternary ammonium compounds, panthenol, panthenol ethyl ether, and histidine. I have had the opportunity to speak directly with Pantene scientists and ask them questions about their formulas, and I've learned that they've done a ton of research on panthenol and derivatives of panthenol, like panthenol ethyl ether, surrounding its abilities to strengthen hair and repair damage when formulated in products at a certain concentration. So that is the reason why I'm highlighting those 2 ingredients in this specific product in particular. They also explained that the reason why they include histidine in a lot of their formulas is to provide antioxidant protection, and that can have a few different benefits for our hair, but one of the most important is providing that UV protection. So again, highlighting that because I have spoken with their chemist directly and know that those are some key ingredients for their formulas. I know that fragrance is super important for a lot of you, so I'm going to try my best to explain how these smell. And this has an amazing summery tropical fragrance that to me has notes of coconut and sunshine. That's how I would describe it. If you've ever tried their Miracle Rescue Deep Repair Conditioner and or mask, those products have the exact same fragrance as this, and I personally love it. This is an ultra fine mist, so it really does leave my hair feeling weightless while still providing softness and detangling to the level that I need. And when it comes to the actual formula and product inside this bottle, I do feel like it's pretty much tied with the next option that we'll talk about for being the lightest in this video. But the reason why I'm talking about this one first and why I feel like it ends up having the lightest feel in my hair is really because of how it applies and that ultra fine mist. So when I initially tested this, I was like, oh, this is an amazing option for those that have fine/thin hair and are prone to their hair feeling weighed down, but I'm not going to repurchase it for myself because I feel like it doesn't quite sleeken my hair in the way that my favorites do. But then we entered the era of hair care products launching that are insanely sleekening, like Dove Bond Strength and L'Oreal Glossing. And that made me realize how nice it is to have an option like this on hand for days when I'm using a lot of different products from those kinds of systems. So if you're already using a lot of other products that kind of sleeken your hair to the extreme and you don't want to add to that with your leave-in spray, then this is a really great option. Otherwise, if you are someone with fine/thin hair or somebody that just really hates the feeling of heavy leave-ins that make it feel like you have a lot of product in your hair, this is going to be your best friend. Next up is the Tresemme Protecting Heat Protecting Spray. I think, because this has been repackaged and renamed so many times that I can't keep track anymore. So we had the original Heat Tamer spray. We have these 2 different options that I have here, and now there's an even newer one listed on Target's website. So I don't know what's going on, but from what I can see, it's all really just been repackaging and renaming and not a true reformulation of the product inside. So regardless of which packaging or product name you end up with, the claimed benefits include 450 degrees of heat protection, softening, smoothing frizz, adding shine, and style hold. Key ingredients include amodimethicone and cetrimonium chloride, and this one has a little bit more of a clean laundry-like scent to me, but not in a powdery way at all. It's more just like you have clean hair and just went to a salon, if that makes any sense at all, but it's nice and definitely different from a lot of other drugstore options. Because this was originally named Heat Tamer, I think a lot of people assumed that this was strictly a heat protectant that could not be used as a leave-in conditioner, but it absolutely can. It's just going to provide a lighter level of conditioning and smoothing than some of these other options because it's also an ultra fine mist that it feels very lightweight in the hair. But it still softens, smooths, and adds shine like all of these other leave-ins do. So it's another that I think is a great option for those of you that have hair that is easily weighed down or just don't like the feel of heavy leave-ins. This is just the definition of an oldie but a goodie. It's a drugstore classic. Next up is the Tresemme Keratin Smooth Heat Protection Spray, or sometimes listed as Keratin Smooth Blowout Spray. Similar to Heat Tamer, this has been repackaged and renamed many times, so just know it's the option with the red bottle and the black cap, or the opposite of this. But the benefits include 450 degrees of heat protection, softening, smoothing frizz, adding shine, style hold, and detangling. While the ingredients are not the exact same as Heat Tamer, there are a lot of similarities, including the key ingredients, so amodimethicone and cetrimonium chloride. This one does not have the same fragrance as Heat Tamer. It's still fresh, but it definitely smells fruitier to me, like almost a little appley, but it's also really nice. If I have stray hairs across my forehead in this video, I am so sorry. I do not know what's going on today. This is definitely similar to Heat Tamer in the way that it makes my hair feel, but I would say it's just a little bit thicker and a little bit more conditioning while still being one of the lightest options in this video. So if what I was saying about hair types and hair preferences for the first two options really resonated for you, but those were not quite conditioning enough, you want something that's really similar but a little bit more, this might be the one for you to try. Next up is the OGX Bond Protein Repair Heat Protect Spray. Benefits include 450 degrees of heat protection, repairing damage, conditioning, and strengthening. Key ingredients also include amodimethicone and cetrimonium chloride, but on top of that, he's like, don't mind me, I'm just biting my mommy hand. Mister, I need to take a nappy. On top of that, this also has the bond repair technology that they have in all of these bond protein repair products, which is under the trademarked name FiberHance, but that is not what you will see listed on the label. You will see these two ingredients. Those are what make up FiberHance. This one has a very floral fragrance. I would say it's the most predominantly floral out of all of these in this video. I actually love it because it's like a fresh, springy floral to me, and I found fragrance notes listed as jasmine, orange, and rose. And as many of you already know, I am obsessed with this mister. It's hands down the best in this video and the best I have ever tried at any price point, period, in terms of fine, even continuous product distribution. But I have seen some comments from some of you saying that this is just too heavy in your hair. And I had a hunch that I knew what was causing that, but I wanted to be sure. So to figure out what was going on, I poured this into a little glass bowl. Okay, so here's what OGX looks like. Now let's compare that to Pantene and our two options from Tresemme. As you can see, these are all very liquidy. Now compare those to these. There's a clear difference between those that are very liquidy and then those that are thicker and creamier. And obviously the way that a leave-in spray looks in a glass bowl does not automatically translate to how it feels in your hair and the experience that you have with it, but this at least partially confirmed my hypothesis, which is that the reason why some of you feel that this is too heavy in your hair is not because the product inside the bottle is super thick and creamy and heavy, but because a continuous mister does make it easy to accidentally apply too much product. So while I am personally a huge fan of the applicator, I can also acknowledge that it's not going to work for everybody the same, and there could be some potential downsides with that. Regardless of application, I do think that this is a bit of a heavier option than Pantene or Tresemme Heat Tamer, but it's still lighter than a lot of the other options in this video if you don't apply too much. So I would say that you're probably most likely to love this if you have normal to thick/coarse hair, or if you want extra conditioning with fine/thin hair and you can find an application technique that works for you. For me personally, I feel like this is the perfect in-between where it delivers just the right amount of conditioning, softening, smoothing, detangling without it being too little or too much. It's one that I feel like I can reach for regardless of what I use in the shower and end up with really nice results no matter what. Next up, we have the Not Your Mother's Tough Love Bonding Leave-In Protector. Benefits include 450 degrees of heat protection, repairing, strengthening, intensely conditioning, detangling, taming frizz, and enhancing shine. Key ingredients include cyclopentasiloxane, a couple quaternary ammonium compounds, and bis-4-PCA dimethicone. That is their bonding ingredient in the leave-in protector, which is actually different than the bonding ingredient in their shampoo, conditioner, and treatment. This is also a floral fragrance, but it's softer than the OGX option, and it has fragrance notes of velvet, peony, and musk. I feel like this is one of the most subtle fragrance options if you're someone that's really sensitive to strong fragrances. This one is significantly more viscous and creamy than everything else we've talked about so far. Actually, I'm just gonna keep including that glass bowl visual for everything else in this video because I think it's really interesting to see what they look like, and then you can kind of compare them to see the differences. Okay, so while you can see that this is not nearly as liquidy as Pantene, Tresemme, or OGX, I also think it's the lightest of the thicker options that we have left. It still does a great job at conditioning and detangling, but my hair definitely feels lighter and fluffier with this than the last four options. So this is one of those that I think would end up working for a lot of different hair types because while it is more viscous, it still is not heavy. So if you like the idea of a reparative spray that is a bit more creamy and conditioning, but not likely to weigh down your hair majorly, then this is a great option. Next is the Redken One United all-in-one multi-benefit treatment. I won't read through all of these benefits because there are many listed, but I'll just highlight a couple. Provides lightweight conditioning, softens, strengthens, detangles, primes for styling, protects from heat damage up to 450 degrees, adds silky smoothness and shine, frizz control, anti-static, the list goes on. Ingredient highlights include coconut oil, amodimethicone, quaternary ammonium compounds, and lactic acid. And the reason why I'm calling out lactic acid, and I know that it's not just being used in this formula for pH adjusting purposes, is because it's now highlighted on Redken's website. This smells so freaking good. Like, this is another one to me that just smells like you just left the salon, but I think that this is even better than Tresemme. The fragrance notes include top notes of freesia, nectarine, and leafy green, middle notes of jasmine, peony, rose, water lily, and iris, and base notes of musk, woods, and vanilla. This is actually one of the first leave-in conditioners that I ever remember using, which is funny because at the time I had no idea how great it is, and now here we are years and years later with it being in my top 8. So while this is amazing in its own right, what I will say about it is that it's incredibly similar to the next two options that I'm going to be recommending, which include Pureology Color Fanatic and a very bedazzled L'Oreal 21-in-1 Moisture Spray. Out of the three, Redken has always felt the lightest in my hair, but it definitely delivers more conditioning and smoothing than everything else we've talked about so far. Like, my hair's just silkier and sleeker with this. It really is just an incredible all-in-one that makes my hair feel so soft and nice every single time that I use it. So if you have tried Pureology and L'Oreal and you want something that's extremely similar but just a little bit lighter, then Redken might be exactly what you're looking for. Next up is Pureology Color Fanatic, which also has a ton of benefits listed on the label, so I won't read off every single one. Let's do a couple. Preserves color vibrancy, instantly detangles, smooths the hair fiber, prevents split ends, strengthens, protects against heat damage up to 450 degrees, seals hair cuticle, creates silkiness. Ingredient highlights also include coconut oil, amodimethicone, and some quaternary ammonium compounds, but in addition to that, camelina sativa seed oil and olive fruit oil. This one does have fragrance notes listed, which, by the way, I feel like should just be a requirement from this point forward for every hair care product ever. Like, tell us exactly what this smells like. Gosh, I love it. Rose, floral, ginger, and cedarwood are the fragrance notes, which I think makes it just like a little bit more spicy from the ginger and a little bit more woodsy than Redken. Compared to the rest, this is one of the thickest and creamiest, so it can definitely feel a bit too heavy for some people. But what has always stood out to me about this is its detangling and smoothing power. It is just so good at easing the detangling process and preventing my brush from catching in my hair and causing too much breakage. And then on top of that, it makes my hair incredibly soft, sleek, and silky. So again, you're probably not going to love this if you have hair that's weighed down easily, but if you want a leave-in that's going to provide enhanced conditioning, smoothing, softening, and detangling, Pureology Color Fanatic is superb. Second to last is the L'Oreal Moisture 21-in-1 Spray, which I actually just emptied, otherwise I would not have to show you my decorative rhinestone version. Similar to Pureology, there are 21 benefits, so some of those include 450 degrees of heat protection, moisturizing, priming, detangling, nourishing, controlling frizz, and adding shine. Again, very similar ingredient highlights to Redken and Pureology. It's the exact same as Pureology actually, just without those additional oils. So coconut oil, amodimethicone, quaternary ammonium compounds. This one has fragrance notes of almond blossom and creamy musk. I love the way that all of these smell. And I actually think that this is my favorite scent out of all of the drugstore options. So if you couldn't tell by the ingredient highlights, this is my recommendation for a drugstore alternative to both Redken and Pureology. Like I said, I don't think that they're identical. I actually think that this one has a little bit more of a slippery feel in my hair than Pureology and feels a little bit heavier than Redken, but you can't deny the similarities. Essentially everything that I said about how nice my hair feels with both Redken and Pureology holds true for this as well. So if you don't want to splurge on those, but you want all of those benefits benefits and a very similar experience, then L'Oreal Moisture 21-in-1 is for you. And last but not least is the Bumble and Bumble Hairdresser's Invisible Oil Heat and UV Protective Primer. Claimed benefits include 450 degrees of heat protection, hydrating, UV filters, detangling, reducing frizz, softening, adding shine, smoothing, nourishing, and detangling. Key ingredients in this include some quaternary ammonium compounds and a 6-oil blend containing coconut oil, argan oil, grapeseed oil, macadamia nut oil, sweet almond oil, and safflower seed oil. This fragrance is described as being luxe yet light, with a scent of fruit and tropical florals anchored with rich musk and woodsy notes. Oh, this one's so freaking good. I think I like the way that that smells better than Pureology, actually. I do. Well, to me, this one has always felt the thickest and creamiest while still not hitting that point of being too heavy for my hair type. It's not as top tier in the detangling department like Pureology and L'Oreal. It's maybe like a step below that, but it still performs really well and is intensely conditioning. And if you're someone that normally feels like you need to add a lotion or a cream after using a leave-in spray to condition and smooth to the level that you need, this could solve that for you all in one. So if you don't have a need for intensive detangling, but you have normal/thick hair and you do want intensive conditioning, smoothing, frizz control, then you really can't go wrong with Bumble and Bumble. I think that you'll love it. I realized that I said top 8 leave-in conditioning sprays when I was talking about Redken, and that was 9. So those are my top 9 leave-in conditioning sprays, and now I'm like, I want to get that to 10. But for now, we're going to wrap this video up here. Those are my current favorite leave-in conditioning and heat protective sprays. I really hope this helped you to figure out which might be the best fit for you, and you'll have to let me know in the comments below. Is there one that you're going to pick up and try after watching this? Have you tested one or several of these options? If so, what was your experience? Make sure to list what your hair type is if you are sharing your experience and using some of these, because I feel like that just helps all of us to better understand these products, myself included. I actually really love hearing from you guys what you have tried, what your hair type is, how it worked for you, because I feel like that just helps me to shape my recommendations for the future. Thank you for watching this video. I love the freaking heck out of you guys. Make sure to stay tuned for my next one because that will be up a week from today. But until then, I hope you have a great week. And just so you know, he was going absolutely crazy the entire time that I filmed that. And now he is just starting to settle down. Classic. But I love you. You're so cute.